that we've just wasted 9 minutes of talking time because I wasn't recording the video. Anyway, me and Laura have spent about 10 minutes talking about all sorts of things that nobody else will hear about. Obviously, it's the Easter break at university now. You're sunburnt because you went in a hockey tournament, got drunk, fell over, ate some chicken nuggets. We were speaking about how everyone's business has been going. You're nothing because you've been doing your dissertation. You've been a bit of a study geek. Andrew's doing his website, which he wants to have ready by the end of Easter, and Owen is getting his sort of pitch and everything sorted out so that he can start to get businesses on board for his social media package that he'll be delivering. And we mentioned about my course coming down to Halifax in June as a little course trip, so I'm arranging a few things for my peers, my student peers and some of the staff to see and experience here in Halifax. And as a result of that, in a roundabout way, they've asked if I'll do a little interview for the website, but they gave me the option of doing it via the vlog, so why not?
So Laura, presenter Laura is here.
Yeah.
To start this journey.
It's a good point to kind of review everything about why I started doing this vlog in the first place.
So the idea is that she's very excited about the work you're doing with your vlogs, and she wants to share this experience, and she's given me and you a few questions. What is the business you are working on? A brief description, please.
That word that doesn't really ever apply to me. So the business I'm working on is, I've done that whole pitch thing. Off we go. Anyway, we digress again. My business it's a design business, so I'm called Piece It Together Design, and I'm designing pin badges, a pin badge concept. And one thing that struck me actually just this morning is that the souvenir kind of memorabilia market that does pin badges is essentially what we call fragmented, because there's so many providers and they're all basically doing the same stuff. But that's given me an opportunity to actually innovate a different form of pin badge product here. So that's essentially what the business is.
But who is it tailored to?
Well, you know very well that I've recently done a big brainstorm of market opportunities and came up with about 130. Virgin Galactic travel was perhaps the most extreme. I started this process because of a book called, The Disciplined Entrepreneur? I'll put the details of that at the bottom. And I'll be 100% honest, my heart completely sank when I started reading this book, which was recommended to me by Emily Simmons, one of the lecturers on my course. But at the same time, I knew when I read it that if I do what's written there, I'm essentially setting myself up to do quite well. Yes, it's a lot of work, but now that I've started to do that and started the process described in that book, I can already see that working out. So it's quite exciting. My current preference is performing arts.
Yes.
Isn't that uncanny, given that's what you're doing?
Yeah.
But that's complete coincidence, actually. I was going down that route before we really got into doing these vlogs together.
Well, I inspired you though, knowing that I was on the theatre performance course.
This could be it. This could be it. Oh, I've just answered the next question.
No. So the next question, Ollie, is
what am I currently working on within the business? So I've just gone on about the market research. What's actually happened in the last few weeks is all of the studying I've been doing around entrepreneurship since September has fallen into place. I started with my new office last week, so I've got a virtual office now. I've taken deliveries there already for bits and pieces which I'm using for, I suppose, research and development of my product. As I've already said, I'm innovating here around pin badges. My first set of badges is very nearly complete, I would imagine. I got a picture through from China on, was it Friday, Saturday? Friday, I think. Which shows my logo made into badges, and I will have that in my hand hopefully in just over a week. I've got the question here.
That's cheating. Supposed to listen and answer.
Cheating. all suitably famous people know all the questions before they get asked them.
Oh.
Don't you think?
Just a little bit self-righteous.
Self-pretentious. So every time we talk about that, it's only pandering to the person that said that to me. Just realised the battery's going to go in a minute.
On what?
On my computer. Oh, God. Hang on. Wait, let's pause. We'll do that question again in a second. Sorry?
Can't you plug it in?
Yeah, I can, but rather than record all that faffing about.
Are you recording it?
Oh, yeah.
Are you?
Well, I thought that might have been funny.
That's funny. That needs to make it in there. They keep phoning me.
But they can't. You've been
I'm on Skype.
fobbing me off for your other friends for days, and we're not waiting.
Me? Stop being emotional. Miss Periodical. Why did you choose to study the MSc Enterprise in Leeds? What attracted you to the course?
I've covered in a lot of my vlogs about my past, the things that have happened, or I've made sort of alluded to things that have gone on. But a key one from that was when I was travelling, and a country that really inspired me a lot was Colombia. I fell in love with the country within an hour of landing, I would imagine. And I've done some volunteering out there for about 8 months teaching English, and I've met so many Colombians, and the Colombian spirit and the Colombian music and the Colombian weather are all incredibly motivating, positive influences in a country that certainly in the UK still has quite a negative image. I think most of the people I speak to about Colombia, the first thing they're going to start talking about is drugs, and that has actually caused so much trouble for the country. It's quite sad that the legacy still abroad is that's what people remember. Anyway, so I got lots of sort of positive influence from them, and as you know, I met somebody out there, and he, I think, is probably the trigger that set me on this path, because he could see more in me than I could see in myself, I think, in terms of my potential. And he's also incredibly driven, and I think I kind of admired that in somebody, to see that their thinking and the cultural difference actually of realising how, being from that different culture to my own, the decisions are different, the motivations behind why somebody chooses to do what they do are different. It's quite difficult to relate that to kind of westernised culture.
Yeah.
I'm waffling on here, but it's a little bit of a...
No, that's cute. I like it.
Thinking through this morning. So there was that, but also something else happened with the police and me. And
just to clarify, you did work for the police. It wasn't that you had a lot of trouble because you were a bad person.
No.
Just to get clear the air on that
one. So I ended up going to an employment tribunal, which I lost in the legal sense, but I'm 100% certain that the absolute winner in that case was me, because of what that did for me, what it taught me, and what it's enabled me to do since. It's funny how the real hardships and the struggles that people seem to have in life are the things that actually influence them, and help them achieve in the future. If you're going to try and ruin somebody's life, don't underestimate how much they're willing to fight to save it. But I think people struggled to understand how much that meant to me, and how much I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah.
And I think I wouldn't have understood either at the time.
Nah.
And and realising that I had to go through the process almost entirely on my own, and find in myself the strength and the resilience to keep going when everything seemed to be going against me. But I knew the truth. I was fighting for the truth.
The right thing, yeah.
I was doing the right thing. And in the end, I suppose I have to be careful what I say on a recorded thing, but as far as I'm concerned, and what was the satisfaction to me, was that I sat in that tribunal room and I listened to several of my former colleagues. But again, I'd say from my perspective, they were basically lying, because I knew what the truth was, and that just made it so much easier for me to just walk away from the police and go, do you know what? If that's the sort of people you are, I don't want to work for you anymore, because I'm actually better than that. So that fight, Wally was with me in Colombia through the toughest part of that. And all those sort of things combining are what made me decide to study Enterprise, actually. So after the tribunal, I don't know how much of that I'll cut out, if any.
It was really nice. It was good.
After the tribunal, I'd lost. I read the judgment once, from start to finish, and I've never looked at it again since. I had about 24 hours of feeling rubbish, because there was one particular element to it that I was very surprised about. And then I just had to, I sat down and I made a list of, I don't know, it was at least 10 really positive things that came out of that process. And over the coming weeks and months, I sat and looked at myself and thought, well, what am I going to do now? That's it, the police is gone, I'm back from travelling, what do I do with my life? And I remembered back to things that Wally had said to me about my potential. So I started looking at business school, and I came upon Leeds Business School, and I saw its accreditations and the fact it seemed pretty prestigious. I thought, yeah, I like that, and I love Leeds, so I came along to an open day and spoke to Steve King, who's the course director on my course. Actually, I spoke to a different guy first, who runs another course on information management, which is what I thought initially when I looked at Leeds that was going to be my future. Thank goodness I changed my mind. But I spoke to Steve that day, and I could tell in my body language it said everything to me. If I'd have been recording myself then, and every time I start to say that story again, I smile. I can see I'm doing it now, because I just knew that was the right decision. So Leeds I was a big fan of UCL, where I studied before I did my undergraduate degree, and I did my last master's degree at UCL in London. Leeds has blown that out of the water. Sorry, UCL. I'm still very loyal to you, but the opportunities that have opened up from coming to Leeds, they don't compare to anything from London. I'm so much happier here, and it's a great place.
So what attracted you to the course compared to somewhere like UCL?
Well, I did, funnily enough, years ago I did do what I call an Enterprise boot camp. We went on a boot camp for Enterprise as well, but this was like a 3-day voluntary thing. And I did that at UCL with Tim Barnes, who's still kicking around down there. And I remember actually we'd done a group presentation, one of these things that we have to do, where you come up with some idea or some problem that you're solving. And when we delivered it, I remember Tim coming up to me afterwards and saying, wow, where did that come from? And there was something about the way I delivered it that made him respond in that way. Literally just the other day went, do you know what, that was it. I knew there was something for several years in me that thought, I'd love to do business, but I know it's far too complicated. How could I possibly do it? I don't know where you start. There's all these different things. and I've done it anyway. And there's still all those different things that I knew nothing about, or still don't know anything about, but I'm finding them out and I'm dealing with them. And that's what's so great about this process, because it's not just that I'm doing it with a... Why are you laughing at me? I'm doing it with a huge... You're not very professional.
I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. It's because there's a brush.
Oprah Winfrey would never have done that. Oprah Winfrey would never have done that, would she?
It's because there's a brush behind me. I can hear my mum getting closer with the brush. That's what she's going to end up coming in a minute. I'm really sorry. Do you want to start that again?
This is classic. No, not really. I've forgotten what I was saying now. It's the fact that now I'm doing that, I've got a huge amount of support from the university. It's support that's there if you want to go and find it and make use of it.
Yeah.
You've got to be proactive about it. You're not going to be an entrepreneur, if you want to call it that, or have an entrepreneurial mindset unless you're proactive about doing things. Nobody else is going to do this for you. There'll be people, in fact there's so many people that are willing to help you and encourage you along the way, but you've got to take the first step, and you've got to go and approach these people, and you've got to be bold, and you've got to believe in yourself, and you've got to have the support of other people, and that's what we've now got with each other. So we're supporting ourselves, Andy, Owen, and all the others within our enterprise group, and as and when we come across each other, we want to know how it's going. We want everyone to succeed. So that's an amazing place to be, because most people just see things in society that they want to complain about, and it's so negative. But I used to be like that, so don't criticise people for it. I would help anybody, I think, and I've tried to in the last 40 years of my life, I think, whenever things have come along and wherever I felt able. But actually, people need to find a lot of things out for themselves.
Yeah.
And it's when people will say to me at the moment, it's like, oh, you're an inspiration, it's great, you've achieved so much, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, well, you could do the same thing,
Yeah.
Not everyone does that. Some people are a little bit spiteful and jealous about what I'm doing, which is quite surprising. And again, it's self-destructive on themselves. I do talk about what I'm doing a lot, because part of me needs some self-reinforcement. It's like a little pinch to myself, really, just to go, come on, is this really happening? I need to talk it out loud, and I'm not saying that because I'm trying to show to everybody and go, hey, look how wonderful I am. Part of me wants to feel that, and you've got to believe that as well. If you don't believe you're good, and you don't believe you're capable, then you're never going to start this. So that needs to come across. And actually, James Waggart, when he came in and talked to us, said something similar about people perhaps thinking he was arrogant. But as he went through his story, you're just like, wow, amazing. And it's all about people who, he says this thing about doing something like doing interesting things with amazing people. Well, it's some sort of phrase like that. That's what his life has become, and that's pretty much what my life has become. He talks about the trade-off between time and money, and I remember sitting with him months ago saying, right, so I haven't got any time, I haven't got any money either, so how does that work? But I was saying that tongue in cheek, because it's not going to come overnight, is it? But actually, when I think we spoke at the beginning of today, I was saying there's nothing I do in my life at the moment that I don't enjoy.
Yeah. That's amazing to say.
I'm 40 years old, and I enjoy every moment of my life, every day.
Yeah. That's so nice. That's lovely.
And I know so many people can't say that.
No.
Of course, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. There's things that'll irritate me. But actually, it's not like I don't go to a job just thinking, oh God, I hate this job, I've just got to do it for the money, or, you know, and I'm not. My life isn't just about how I'm going to get to my next holiday or anything like that. I enjoy what I'm doing. I'm doing a really tough process, but it's good.
So, talking of processes, how did the degree help you during the process of starting and running your business?
Massively. It blew before I'd even started it, on the induction week, it blew away any illusions I had that I would not be able to start a business. So I started the course not even intending to start a business. I thought I'd be some amazing ideas guru that would go into other businesses and help them out.
Yeah.
And yeah, almost immediately I thought, I can start a business here. If I'm ever going to do it, it's going to happen while I'm at Leeds. And again, before the course started, we did a little Dragon's Den scenario bit of fun. So we had about a week in a group to come up with an idea and pitch it to a panel of some of the ambassadors that come into the department.
Yeah.
And Richard Tunstall, who I will never forget, said he liked my idea, but Hollywood won for him over Halifax, and I've since said to him, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Right.
And show you that actually Halifax can win here. So that's one of those silly little side things that's going on with all of this, is as much of a joke as it is for both of us, for me to be able to turn around and go, there you go, see, you should have invested in Halifax. That's how the course initially started me on my business, is give me the chance to do that Dragon's Den pitch. My goal actually came last. Several people were kind of laughing at me because I was so passionate about the idea, and here we are. So there you go. Don't have people laughing at you, put you off, because you can do it. Okay, so yeah, I'm not making any money yet, but it's really nicely. So that was first thing. Then we did a course with Richard called Enterprise Awareness, and in that we had to keep a personal journal to track our kind of progress as we went through the academic material, to see how it related to our own personal development. I found that hugely interesting and very insightful into my own journey, and that is what led me to start doing the vlog. Another module called Global Perspectives, which gave me the insight into what is actually very important for entrepreneurship nowadays. So I've been fighting against this idea from the start, thinking, well, I've got to start really small, and this the whole idea of the global business now far too scary. To actually now I'm sitting here thinking, well, how can I get this onto the global market as quick as possible? And that's literally how I'm thinking.
Yeah.
6 months. That's what my course has done for me, and the people around me, making me believe that, well, why not? Go for it. One of my peers on the course, Joy, was out in New York recently. She has given me some very useful information as a result of her trip, which feeds into my overall market research. So there you go. This semester we did a module called Contemporary Challenges in Global Enterprise. That's what's turning me into a feminist. With Isla again, we've been doing new venture creation, and that is basically a blueprint of how to get your business plan and your business idea up and running. So it is exactly perfectly timed for what I'm doing. It couldn't be any more practical. And as a part-time student, I only do the compulsory modules, but all of them are influencing what I'm doing directly, without question. So that is how the course is helping me.
What advice would you give to anyone thinking of taking this degree?
Get involved. At the beginning of this course, I got involved in all sorts of things: enterprise society, volunteering. An aspect to my journey is that I moved to Halifax. I just hello. This is so random, lovely, great blogging. It's great. experience.
It's really
I mean,
random.
look how awkward I was when I started this. It's like second nature now.
I
The little blue whippet thing, puppy, was down the pub again yesterday. I found out his name. It's called Vinny. A large part of this process is about the doing. So yes, I'm studying a master's degree. Yes, it is academic, but it is study of enterprise and entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
That means you've got to do. You've got to meet people. You've got to discuss things. You've got to share ideas. So all of those things along the way are helping develop me as a person and give me a stronger base from which to develop my business.
Really, your advice would be to network, get involved in community, and to have a bit of sass along the way.
Oh, that's my advice.
So,
come to Leeds, and when you come to Leeds, the most important piece of advice is come and visit Halifax.
yes.
And I will welcome you with open arms.
And if you've watched the last vlog, you will see how beautiful Halifax is. And side note, I'm obsessed with The Last Tango in Halifax. And if you haven't watched it, watch it, because it will make you fall in love with Halifax.